Let's do some problems that involve subtracting fractions, or instead of saying fractions, we could say rational numbers. Either way, I'll do every other of these up here. So let's start with B. B, we have 2/3 minus 1/4. Just as in the case with adding fractions, you need to have a common denominator here. You have to know how many pieces of the pie we're dealing with. So the common denominator of 3 and 4, or the least common multiple of 3 and 4, the smallest number that's divisible by both of them, that's 12. So let me write it this way. Actually, let me do it this way. This would be more fun. 2/3, we could write it with, if we write 12 in the denominator, 3 times 4 is 12. So 2 times 4 is 8. These are equivalent. We multiply the numerator and the denominator by 4. And then 1/4, if we put 12 in the denominator, 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 12s and 1/4 are the same thing. And we have a minus sign right there. So this is going to be equal to 8 minus 3 over 12, now that we have our common denominator, which is equal to 5 over 12. Let's do D. D, let me do a different color. D, 15 over 11. 15 elevenths minus 9 sevenths. Let's get a common denominator. Let's see, between 11 and 7, I think 77 is going to be the first number you're going to find that is divisible by both. You just multiply the two. So you have 77. To go from this 11 to 77, you have to multiply by 7. So 15 times 7. 15 times 7 is 70 plus 35. That is 105. And then we have minus over 77. 7 times 11 is 77. 9 times 11 is 99. So 105 minus, so this is going to be 105 minus 99 over 77. What's 105 minus 99? It is 6. And we are done. You can't reduce this anymore. 6 and 77 aren't divisible by, don't have any common factors. Let's do F. F, let me do it in a new color. F. So F has us doing 7 over 27 minus 9 over 39. All right, so what is the common denominator here? And actually, there's something we might be able to simplify. We might be able to simplify this a little bit. 9 over 39, they're both divisible by 3. So I can rewrite 9 over 39 as divide 9 by 3. It becomes 3. You divide 39 by 3, it becomes 13. So this becomes 7 over 27 minus 3 over 13. So what's a common denominator between 27 and 13? Well, they don't have any common factors, so we're just going to have to multiply the two. So let's see, 27 times 13. Let me do it over the side over here. So 27 times 13. 3 times 7 is 21. Carry the 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. So put the 0 down here. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 2 is 2. And we add. 1 plus 0 is 1. 8 plus 7 is 15. 1 plus 2 is 3. So our common denominator is going to be 351 minus something over 351. To go from 27 to 351, we had to multiply by 13. So to go from 7 to whatever numerator here, we have to multiply by 13. 7 times 13 is 70 plus 21 is 91. This is 91 over 351. And to go from this 13 to 351, we had to multiply by 27. So on the numerator, we have to multiply by 27. 3 times 27, that is 60 plus 21, that is 81. And so our answer is going to be over 351. And 91 minus 81, well, that's just 10. And then we are done. And then let's do one more. These are getting a little hairy, but we can power through them. H. H says 13 over 64 minus 7 over 40. So let's get a common denominator between 64 and 40. So 80 won't work. We could actually try to, actually, let's do this the old-fashioned way. Let's look at the factors. Let's look at the prime factorization of the two, and then we can find the least common multiple. So this will be interesting. So 64, let me do it in a different color here. 64, we can factor that as 2 times 32, which is the same thing as 2 times 16, which is the same thing as 2 times 8, which is the same thing as 2 times 4, which is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2. So this is 2 times itself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So we could say 64 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. If you know exponents, it's the same thing as 2 to the 6th. That's 64. Now, 40, you do the same thing. 40, let me do that in a different color. 40 is 2 times 20, which is 2 times 10, which is 2 times 5. So 40 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. This is the prime factorization of 40. Now, if we compare the two, this 2 times 2 times 2, this is inside of 64. So in order to find the least common multiple, we don't have a 5 in the prime factorization of 64. We have the 2 times 2 times 2. So to get there, the least common multiple of these will be if we just multiply this times 5. So we take 64 and we multiply it times 5. Because this number now is going to have 64 in it. That's 64. And it's also going to have 40 in it. Right there. So 64 times 5. So what is 64 times 5? So if we take 64, so I'm running out of real estate. Let me scroll over to the right. So 64 times 5, this is 320. So it's 320. So that is times 5. So if we multiply 64 times 5, we have to multiply 13 times 5. So that's 50 plus 15, right? 13 times 5, right? So it's 65. So that is 65. And then to go from 40 to 320, we have to multiply by 8, right? We have to multiply by 8. And you can see that there. You have this other 3 2's, 2 to the third power. So we have to multiply by 8 over here. So 7 times 8 is 56. 7 times 8, so we have a minus 56 is equal to 65 minus 56 is 9. Is equal to 9 over 320. That was a little bit of a hairy problem, but we were able to power through it. Let's do this last problem down here. Consider the equation 2 thirds x plus 1/2. All right, y is equal to 2 thirds x plus 1/2. Determine the change in y between x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2. All right, let's see, let's make a little table, x and y. When x is equal to 1, what is y? It's 2 thirds times 1 plus 1/2, which is equal to 2 thirds plus 1/2, which is equal to a common denominator of 6. 2 thirds is 4/6. Multiply both of them by 2. Plus 1/2 is 3/6. So this is equal to 7/6. All right, when x is equal to 2, you have 2 thirds times 2 plus 1/2. So it's going to be equal to 4 thirds plus 1/2, which is equal to common denominator of 6. This is equal to 8/6, right? 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 3/6, which is equal to 11/6. And they say determine the change in y between x equal 1 and x equal to 2. So how much larger is this? This is our new y when x is equal to 2 relative to this. So we could take our 11/6 minus 7/6, and our change in y between x is equal to 1 and x is equal to 2, 11 minus 7 is 4 over 6, which is equal to 2/3. And that makes complete sense, because every time you increase x by 1, you're increasing this expression by another 2/3. When you go from 1 to 2, you should increase by 2/3.